Hey, my name is Thomas and today I've got this for you. It's the Brightin Star Fun Leader 28mm f2.8 lens for your Leica M cameras. I'm super excited. I love lenses like this. They're out of the norm. This one is a pancake lens and it comes with a beautiful black paint finish. But now we have to find out how good this thing is. Let's have a go. So the idea behind this lens was to make a pancake lens, super small lens, something individual, but at the same time give it decent optical characteristics. So this is not a fun lens, despite the name Fun Leader of one of the two companies who designed this thing. The other company is Brightin Star, which are already well known from the Chinese market. They do a lot of different lenses, and they're now also venturing into making Leica M8 lenses. This thing was introduced in 2023, so it's a fairly new design. So today I'm shooting this on the Leica M8. As you might know, this camera has a crop factor. The sensor is not full frame, it's a 1.37 times crop factor. But I'm also going to show you some samples on full frame so you can see how good the lens is also to the corners of the full frame image. In your hand, this lens is really beautifully made, and as you can see, it's a real pancake lens. It's protruding less than a centimeter from the lens mount. It's a tiny lens. It's a black paint finish. It's made from brass. It's surprisingly heavy for what it is. It feels really, really good. In terms of operation, you've got this focusing tab here. It focuses down to 0.7 meters like every other Leica M lens. M lenses cannot focus closer than that normally. And this also works very smoothly. And the aperture sits on this ring here. So that's a little bit fiddly, but yeah, it's a pancake style lens. They can't make it differently. There are no click stops on the aperture. Again, it's very similar to an old Leica thread mount lens. They were black brass with black paint. Typical Leica M lenses are made differently. It just fits very well on a black paint Leica M body like this. So overall, I can really say it's beautifully made, a very high quality lens. And use this lens is super unobtrusive and very easy. Actually, this f2.8 aperture is bright enough so it's usable in everyday conditions, not like the TT Artisan 28, which is just an f5.6. This is 2.8, very usable. At the same time, it doesn't stress you too much in rangefinder focusing. You don't need to be hyper accurate. All your shots are easily in focus and you're very fast when you're shooting. The only thing is this aperture ring, it moves very, very easily. Just when you just put on the lens step, you will move the aperture ring. So you always have to check your aperture setting before shooting. So the nice thing about f2.8 is to get some bokeh. No, this is not a 51.4, but it gives you some background blur when you need it. So portraits and stuff with a little bit of environment around it can go very well. One thing, yeah, it's beautiful, but it's also annoying, is this screw-on metal lens cap. You always have to screw it on and off because you want some projection on your lens, and really a cheap one that snaps on is more practical than this. You guys know what that is. It's a detail for Leica M camera, but what is the real purpose? I didn't know when I came here the first time, but actually these things are made to clean your shoes. I guess like something like this before you enter the house, because there was no sidewalks like this. It was all mud and sand on the streets. But anyhow, 70 centimeters is the close focus limit for every Leica M camera. So it's not a problem of the lens, but it's because of the rangefinder system. And that means here I can get close enough, the detail is large enough, but the Leica M is not really made for detailed shots. So as you can see, I actually took the real pictures, good one, from a larger distance, maybe 1.5 meters. But again, for small things like flowers or stuff, Leica M is not your system. Today I'm shooting this, as I said before, on the Leica M8 with the crop sensor, so it becomes a 35mm equivalent lens, a very, very good walk-around lens for travel or any other purposes. And also note that the 4 extreme corners of the image frame on the full-frame sensor are not visible on the M8, which is good in this case because the Brightin Star 28 has some weakness in the 4 extreme corners of full frame. It's never really sharp there, and on the Leica M8 you don't see that. So at a 5.6 or f8, this lens is hyper sharp on the M8. Now let's have a quick look at performance on full frame. So I shot this lens on a Nikon Z8. First things first, I would not recommend to get this lens if you really want to shoot it on a modern digital camera like Nikon, Sony, Canon. I think this lens is really designed to look good on a Leica M, to fit to a Leica M in forms of handling and everything. On a modern camera, yeah, it doesn't really make sense. As you see, it's a tiny lens, but it still needs an adapter. I don't think it's a good combination. Just get a modern lens for your digital cameras. But on the other hand, if this lens performs well on the Z8, then chances are very high it will also perform very well on the Leica M10R, M11, all these modern demanding bodies with a high pixel count. So let's have a look here. As you see at f2.8, the broad central area is super crisp and sharp. And then there is some sort of a slight mid-frame dip, like a circle, where it's a little bit less sharp. And then it sharpens up a little bit again. And then the 4 extreme corners are weak again. But already at f4, this cleans up very nicely and you don't see that mid-frame dip anymore. Uh, 5.6, it's overall very, very sharp and crisp. only the 4 extreme corners are still unsharp, and that doesn't really change with f8 or even f11. If you want to shoot landscapes and stuff, I would just go for f8. But that's, like what you expect from any sort of a classic lens design, a 28mm. It's actually a pretty good performance. Just keep in mind those 4 extreme corners will never sharpen up with this lens. And that's a difference to the Leica M8, because that has a crop sensor and then you don't see that weakness in the 4 corners. Apart from that, sharpness, very, very good, as you see. My lens was, the centering quality was decent, but not perfect, because at f2.8 I saw that one half of the image, the right half, was a little bit weaker than the left half. Again, at f4 and 5.6, I didn't see any of that anymore. So decent quality in centering, but not perfect. And last not least, this lens, yes, has a lot of vignetting, which is expected from such a compact wide-angle design, and a lot of distortion, but the distortion is strong, but it's super easy to correct in your RAW converter. In Lightroom, it just needs +10, and then it's completely gone, and you get super straight lines. Actually, much better than a lot of other lenses that have a wavy distortion, and then you cannot really correct for it. And vignetting you can also correct with a whopping +75, but then it's totally gone. So if you want to, you can make this look super clinic and modern, or you just work with the distortion and the vignetting to get a little bit more of a vintage look. So overall, a very decent performance, not perfect, but actually very good. Time for the verdict. Always hard to judge lenses like this that are a bit out of the norm. Price-wise, we're talking about $340 brand new, or around 400 euros. So in terms of M-mount lenses, it's a bargain. In terms of 28 f2.8 lenses, it's not that cheap. But it's an M-mount lens. It couples to your M rangefinder, no issues whatsoever. I always get sharp shots, so that's good. Build quality, fantastic, and I love the design, this pancake style design. It means you can always carry a lens like this and then bring 1-2 other lenses and have this in your bag just for general shooting. Or if you don't really know what to shoot, then just put on this lens and your M camera becomes really pocketable. So build quality is fantastic. Performance is okay. It's not super great. Again, on full frame, the 4 corners never get really sharp. My specific lens, this sample, was a little bit, the centering quality wasn't perfect. At a 5.6, no issues whatsoever, so it's okay. But yeah, you don't buy it for optical performance. It's decent, but not perfect. Overall, I love shooting it. That's what I can say, especially on the M8 or any other digital M camera. Super easy to shoot and just enjoy. So in the end, I can recommend it, but keep in mind there are so many other options out there. Just beware what you're buying. And keep yourself informed. Maybe there's other lenses that apply more to your specific needs. And that's it for today. I hope you liked this video, maybe even found it useful. If you did so, then please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. Thanks for your support again. And if you've got any questions or comments about this lens or photography in general, write something in the comment section below. I love to read all your comments. I will happily answer every single one of them. So have a great time, live long and prosper, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.